Greetings, everyone, and welcome to episode 75 of Teaching Tales, the podcast totally devoted to sharing stories from the world of education. And I am your host, Brent Coley, an elementary principal in beautiful Southern California. And joining me for a second visit on the show is the one and only Dr. Todd Schmidt. Todd, my friend, how you doing?
Hey, how are you? Thank you so much. I didn't realize number 75. Oh, I feel special.
Yeah, I was looking back, like you were on episode 15.
Oh, geez. Oh, wow. So, I remember when we did that too. We did it in a meeting room at a hotel where we were both attending a conference. So
exactly at Lead 3 conference several years ago, and 60 episodes later, we're back at it, and I'm totally excited to chat today. We were talking a little before we started recording. The topic today is going to be. It's one that applies to everyone.
Yeah.
But for anyone who's not yet familiar with you, just give us a brief rundown. Who is Todd Schmidt?
Oh, okay. Well, let's see here. So I am an elementary principal also in Southern California. I am going into my 8th year as an elementary principal. This is my first year, though. I switched districts just this past year. And one of those reasons is going to be because something I know we're going to be talking about, which is the need for self-care and making sure you're taking care of yourself and your family. So that was kind of a big thing here. This is my 24th year in education. I spent 13 years in the classroom where I taught everything from 4th grade to AP US history, most of it in middle school. And yeah, I did 2 years as an AP. And then, like I said, this is my 8th year as an elementary principal. I love it. It's a lot of fun, but I am now in a district where my kids are. So rather than me going 45 minutes each way, I now, if I hit all 3 lights between my house and my school, it's 7 minutes. So it's been a big change.
Oh, absolutely. And having both of my kids, well, one of them she's now in college now. Time flies. But yeah, they were both in my district, and it makes such a difference. Vacations are the same, and it is huge. And man, just hearing your background again, I'm reminded how similar you and I are. I mean, you're in 8 years as a principal. I'm in my 7th year as a principal. You did 2 years as an AP. I did 2 years as an AP. This is my 24th year as well. I mean, it's like eerily similar.
Yeah.
So I want a little twist to start. The 15th episode that we did together, the topic was like, what's the best parts of being a principal? Mm-hmm. To kind of segue into what we're going to talk about today, what's the hardest part of being a principal? What would you say?
Okay, I think there's a couple of different things. And it really kind of depends sometimes. It can be a very lonely experience, especially as an elementary principal. A lot of us don't have assistant principals. And you're dealing with certain things, and there's really sometimes nobody to really kind of bounce ideas off of. I think it became one of the reasons why I went to Twitter and so much was because I felt so isolated. In terms of people understanding where I was coming from or what the problems are. You deal with a lot, and as amazing as the kids are, and as amazing as your teachers can be, and as amazing as you have all these supportive families on your campuses, it can be very draining. For many cases, you are the person. And so you can be stretched out very thin. At times, it can be a lot to handle. Sometimes then your energy is completely gone. By the time you get home, you're spent. And so, I have never been in a profession where I felt more rewarded as well as more exhausted. There are definitely days where I go, why did I leave the classroom again? God, it was so, simple is not the right word, but at least it was,
everything didn't funnel to you.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, you controlled in those 4 walls, and now, handling the different things. I mean, just the stuff you learn on the spot. Like, I mean, that would be a whole nother podcast, but the stuff that we have seen and dealt with, like, there's no way they can prepare you for that. It's kind of like when you were doing your 5th year as a teacher, and when I get student teachers now on my campus, I'm like, look, this is going to be a really great experience for you, but there are going to be things we're not going to be able to prepare you for just because it is so random of the stuff you deal with. And as a principal, it doesn't matter what classes you take or, certifications you get, the times you're dealing with how to handle when, social services shows up on your campus and you're finding out about a kiddo who's been abused, or when you get caught in between two parents or in a really, really ugly divorce and watching how that impacts those kids, or when you have a teacher who's just completely, lost that love of what got them into the profession and they're having a breakdown. I mean, they don't prepare you for that, and how to handle that can be a lot. And I think for a lot of the principals that you and I are connected with, we take such pride in what we do, but we shoulder a lot of the burden, and it can be emotionally draining. And,
yeah. And that's the role. That's one of the reasons we're there, is to eliminate obstacles and shoulder burdens for other people so that they can do what they do great and serve kids. But you're absolutely right. It is everything you said. I would agree. I'm like nodding my head on the other, end of this internet line, because it is everything you said. It's incredibly draining, yet at the same time incredibly rewarding. And you can listen back to episode 15 and see all the great things, from knee-high hugs from kindergartners to high fives from fifth graders to shooting hoops on the basketball. I mean, there's so many great things, but it's that draining part that we kind of want to talk about today. And if you're not a principal, if you're an educator, a teacher, classroom teacher, an aide, district level, it doesn't matter. This applies. It's that self-care. Like,
right.
It is draining, whether you're a classroom teacher, because like you said, you control what goes on within those four walls. And there's hiccups that come in across our paths. However, I mean, you have a lot more control. Self-care though, like
right.
We have to be able to turn it off or step away. And what have you found, like, as you've moved over the last several years? Because I know that you have tweeted about stuff like this, and
right.
You've talked about stuff like this. Like, why is this important for you?
Well, and I think big part, and I think you and I have had conversations with other principals and other administrators and whatnot, is that it's really easy to get burnt out. And when you get to a spot where you're just like, oh God, I don't even know if I have the energy to deal with this anymore. A good buddy of mine, Eric Ewald, who's the principal out of Iowa, had mentioned before, we always are looking for that elusive balance. We'll never ever achieve it, but we keep striving for it. And it kind of was that mentality as you got together with different principals and realized, wow, we are really all kind of feeling the same of, we go and we are there, and we're at the evening events, and we're at the PTA meetings, and we're all over the place, and we're trying to be all things for all of these people. And if you don't take the time to take care of yourself and take care of the things that are also just as important, your faith, your family, your health, you're going to, truly, I've watched too many fellow administrators who have put so much emphasis on their school life that they've ignored all the other things, and they've either had health problems, heart attacks. I've watched marriages fall apart. And so kind of watching that really kind of made it to where I really needed to make sure that I was being intentional with that. And also realizing, as you kind of do this for a while, you kind of realize there are going to be certain things hey, that'll be there tomorrow. I can leave that there. So,
gosh, again, nodding my head. It's just like, preach it, brother. But I talked about this on an earlier episode, but it's worth repeating. So if you're a new teacher listening to this right now, here's my piece of wisdom that I'm sure, Todd, you will agree with, is you'll never get it all done.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And if you're a principal, you'll never get it all done, or an assistant principal, or there will always be something else you could be doing? And I remember having that realization in the copy room during my second year of teaching. And I'm very glad that it was only in my second year of teaching. It was like 7 o'clock at night. I was in the copy room getting ready and doing a bunch of stuff. And I just had this epiphany, like, I could stay till midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and there was always something else to do. So coming to that realization of, and you said it beautifully, it'll keep. This will keep. And whether this will keep. And I don't remember who said it, but I read a tweet or read a blog post or something where, and I almost thought this is what you were going to say when you said it'll keep, is the world will go on without us too.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not worth letting our marriage go down the drain, or
Mm-hmm.
not spending time with our kids, or doing all of this, because what's most important? I mean, the job is important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like our kids, our staff that we are supporting, that's what we're there for. But I know you preach the same thing to your staff. Your family comes first.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Oh, absolutely.
we're real good at telling our staffs that, but not maybe so great. And I've gotten better with this at walking the walk ourselves. So what are you doing? Like, if someone's listening and they're like, "Gosh, they're nodding their heads as they're walking or listening to
Mm-hmm.
the podcast, but they're struggling with it, like you and me struggle with this. What do you do? What are some practical things that somebody could do to take care of themselves, to balance?"
Okay, so I'm going to give a couple of them that I have come across that have worked really, really well for me personally. The first one is kind of silly, but it has proven to be life changing for me. And when you have a break, like I'm in a district that right now we have President's Week, so I have this week off, which is amazing. Now I could still be on my email, I could still be checking things, but for those of us who are in this, typically your email is on your device.
Yeah.
I turn off my email. I turn it off. I don't delete it. There's this great little toggle that you can do on accounts if you have an iPhone or an iPad or anything. Actually, I'm sure Android has it as well. And it's just a little toggle that turns off your email so it's no longer on your device. That in and of itself has been amazing for me because you know what? No, this is my time. And I tell this to my staff. And I let, districts, like our district leadership know. It's like, hey, you have my cell phone. If you need me, call me. Text me. Happy to, if you have a question or you need me to address something, totally fine. But that has been amazing. And even at times when like things got really stressful or I was dealing with a negative parent or something along those lines, I'd toggle that switch as I was leaving the parking lot. And I'd turn it back on when I got back into the parking lot. Because I think that most teachers would agree, most administrators I know would definitely agree. Has there been an email that came in the evening that really made me feel good about myself? Like you're going to get is you're going to have some parent who, very brave behind their keyboard who sends some scathing thing that you're going to be like perseverating on for hours on end. So no, I don't even want to see it. It'll be there in the morning when I get in, and then I can be, like fired up. But that right there was great. And so now during breaks, I encourage my staff to turn off their email, not just send an outgoing message and out of office, but literally turn it off of your devices. And that has been great for me. So that's one.
I have not gone that far, but I've got like some notes that I typed out of things that I might share, and I wrote turning notifications off.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's not quite to the level, but I got to tell you, and this would be my encouragement. It's like all the time, I don't have notifications on my email on my device. And until about a year ago, I did not even have email on my phone.
Wow.
I have it on my iPad, which anytime I'm in meetings and stuff like that, I've got it on my desktop in my office, but I didn't have it on my phone for the reason that you were just saying. I needed there to be a break. And the reason I've since put it on my phone, we had fires in our area. so it was kind of reminders like, you know what, and they were pushing mass information out regarding school closures and stuff like that. And I realized I need this. But to your point, they have my cell. And if it's a true, like if they need to get a hold of me right then and there, they're going to call me,
Right.
or they're going to text me. But turning, because I found the exact same thing, that little red number that pops up on the email icon was controlling me.
Yep.
And at 9 p.m., I see a number. It's like, something is demanding my attention.
Yep.
And it was consuming me. And, and to your point, very rarely do the really complimentary emails come through at 9 and 10 o'clock at night. Well, that's when the parents have put the kids down to bed. They're frustrated about something, and they're going to get their keyboard courage, and they're going to let you know. And I came to the realization I can't solve that problem at 10 o'clock at night. And so, yeah, but I really like your idea of just toggling it off, turning it off, and just turning the notifications off for me. I still may check it, but I check it on my time.
And see, that's what I had to stop doing. See, that's interesting because you at least have the discipline. I actually had to not have it there, so I could
not even because you would
not even check it. And that was kind of one of the things of making sure that when I got home, that I was really kind of emphasizing and making sure I was paying attention to my family and not looking at it. Because if I just turned notifications off, but it was still there, I might still check it. And I just was like, nope, I don't even want the temptation. For me now to, like, during my break, if I'm going to check my email, I have to go onto my computer. I have to go to our webmail. I have to log in. I mean, it's several steps for me to get to my email. So, yeah. And once I stopped feeling guilty about it, that was a hard part too, was you feel really guilty about it. Once I got over that, like nothing earth shattering happened, and the people who I want to have access to me have my cell phone number or have other means of getting a hold of me. So that included my staff, all of my, my parent leadership has my cell phone, and I'm like, just please, be mindful. Like, I really respect your family time. Please respect mine as well. So only if it's been an emergency. And that has been great. So I highly recommend it.
Oh, I love that because, there has to be that line. And as you were saying that, technology is fantastic. You and I both agree with that. Apps and platforms like Remind and ClassDojo and things. It's awesome. And the lines of communication that has opened is fantastic. However, what that has done is it has blurred a line, if not altogether erased the line of when it's appropriate to send those messages. And I'm sure you've seen this with your staff, and teachers will come and say, hey, I got this remind message from a parent or whatever that sent it just horrible times in the middle. And it's almost like we have to balance that, because if you respond at 11:30 at night to a parent that is writing at 11:25 at night, you're now letting them know that there are no boundaries.
Correct. So, and that's just it. You're letting them all know you are accessible at any given time. And
that's not so my message again for anyone listening, it's like, it is okay to turn the notifications off. It is okay to turn the email off, because when you're at work, you need to be at work. And when you're at home, it's okay to put the blinders on and completely focus on your family. So correct. I love that, Todd. I love that. Anything else that you...
I think in terms of self-care, I think that one of the big ones is making sure that you're taking the time to take care of yourself as it pertains to exercise. Really being intentional, finding the time that works best for you. Like, so for me, I have to do it first thing in the morning. I have a really hard time trying to do it after work. I just am usually too tired. And my car just seems to want to go home, not to the gym. So for me, making that an intentional part and scheduling it, making it to where I really need to make sure I'm getting up, getting it done. And I just feel better, So I think, highlighting that is going to be huge. Making sure that you're making that time and being very intentional with it and just finding the time that works best for you is going to be huge. Another one that I would say just for other administrators too, and this kind of goes to something you had mentioned, is really kind of making sure that if you're going to espouse a family first kind of mentality, two things. Number one, you have to model it. So I'm big on, letting people know that I'm doing stuff with my kids, or, that I'm kind of walking that talk. It's one of the reasons, again, like I said, I moved back up to the district that I used to teach in, was so that I could be in the same district with my kids when that opportunity presented itself. But I think also when your staff have opportunities to do something, maybe even during the school year, that you don't give them grief if they have to take some days to do something with their family.
Amen.
I never want a teacher to feel guilty about spending a couple extra days in Europe with their daughter who's on semester abroad, because
yeah.
it's like I want them to be able to. That popped into my head because I just have one right now. But anytime that a teacher or a staff member has come to me and said, "Hey, I have this opportunity," I'm always like, "Oh, that sounds awesome. Enjoy." I never want them to feel that if they have to leave early because their kiddo's getting an award, or, "Hey, my daughter's getting recognized this morning." I cover their class. If I can't find a sub, I'll go cover it. I want them to be able to have those moments because they are so fleeting. Like you and I have talked before. I mean, you have a daughter that's already in college, and I'm sitting here looking at my daughter and I'm like, I just dropped you off at kindergarten. How are you a freshman in high school already? So, you have to really make sure that people understand that you do value their family time and that you want them to protect it, and you want them to be able to celebrate all of those things as well. So those are some big ones that I just think of right now of not only modeling self-care, but taking care of yourself as well.
Yeah. And I think I think you hit it on the head. It's like whatever works for you. Like for me, I've taken up just walking. It's hard for me to get to a gym for the exact reasons that you said. I drop my son off at high school in the morning, so I get into the office pretty early, and getting to the gym in the morning is not really an option. And for the exact reasons you said, after work, I don't have anything left. There's no way I could do that. But I've just found walking. I took a walk. I mean, we're recording this. We started at 10 a.m., but I got up. I still got to sleep in because it's President's Day. So I got to sleep in a little bit, but I went out for a walk. I've got just a 2.5 mile walk around our community. It takes me about 45 minutes. I'm able to I spend the first part of that walk just kind of praying and reconnecting with God. And then I usually listen to an audible for the last part of the walk. That's something for me is reading for pleasure. I was going to say too often, making that sound like it's a negative thing, but we read a lot of professional development books and stuff like that, but just reading for pleasure. And that's what I like to read fantasy and fiction because I get to go somewhere else.
That's it. And I have them lined up on my Kindle right now. Truly, they are spy thrillers that I've been waiting for, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. So that one right there is huge. That's a great one.
Yeah, and it's like, and I think walking, because I was thinking like if someone's listening to this, it's like walking for the most part is something that we can all do. We don't have to be. Well, I don't have a gym membership. Well, walking's free, and now I'm fortunate. I have hopefully anyone listening, you have a nice community and that you could do it there, or it's a safe community. And if it's not, maybe you do it at your school. I've done that.
Yeah,
before.
Doing it at lunch with other people. Like I have several teachers who used to take their lunch and they do a walking lunch. Yeah. And they just go walk around the neighborhood talking to each other. And it was very cathartic for them sometimes, but it got them out of the gossipy staff lounge, for lack of a better term. And they just found it to be such a great experience, and again, if you have a neighborhood that's great, or just safety in numbers always helps too. Yeah. But I love that one. Sometimes I'd go join them, just like, hey, I'll go walk with you. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's just, I think your point, whatever it is, taking
Hmm.
care of yourself, whether it's um, eating healthy, getting that exercise, and again, the form of exercise can take a whole bunch of different things that
Hmm.
I can take on. Just do it, and I think the all-encompassing theme of this is don't feel guilty. Your point
Hmm.
when a teacher wants to do something with their family and to spend a little extra time because their kiddos home from college, or it's like don't make them feel guilty. But I think it's overcoming that guilt. Oh, I just watched 3 episodes of a Netflix show, and it's like that's okay.
Yeah. Oh,
I
heck
mean,
yeah.
that's okay. It's like, hey, I took my walk and I'm gonna do a little update on something I'm working on, but I'm gonna go up and I'm gonna watch some Netflix because doggone it, I deserve it.
Yeah. Well,
It's
and yes, you have to be able to. And I think that in education, we have just been primed that the best teachers and the best principals, just 100% all the time, every kid, every day. And you're like, no one can sustain that. Like you really genuinely, if you're looking to be your best, you have to at least be willing to say, I need to take care of myself too, because that's going to make me better for all the people in my life, my family, my friends, my students, my staff, myself. Like I have to not get over that thing that taking care of yourself is a selfish thing, or taking time off and going, I just need a brain break and I'm going to take a day and relax and go for a walk or go for a bike ride or watch binge watch an entire series on Netflix.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
If that helps get you right, so you're like, okay, that's what I needed, then I think you should definitely do it. And again, deal with some people who have taken a long time to get to that spot of realizing it's a totally okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyone listening, it's okay. You
Yeah.
cannot you cannot fill from an empty vessel.
Hmm.
If you and I are tasked with filling out the buckets of our staff and our students, and if we got nothing left, it ain't gonna work. So
Yeah, I agree.
awesome. This is good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Well,
So
thank you.
yeah, I appreciate you sharing. And before we finish, I started something a couple episodes ago, and then I
Okay.
forgot to do it the last two I recorded because I'm not used to doing it. But I'm
Hmm.
going to do some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Total non-education, just something to let us know a little bit about Todd Schmidt. So
Okay.
don't worry, it's nothing. It's
These
nothing.
these are no. The other reason, actually, what's funny though, Brent. And before you ask me, we started doing this at the end of our interviews for new teachers. We started asking these questions at the end, and it's based off of like that. We kind of took some of the questions from inside the actor studio,
Yeah,
where they did it. That right there was the most eye-opening experience into new teachers, or just is this somebody who we feel is going to be a great part of our culture? Like the
yeah.
laughter we got from some of these things and the questions. Oh yeah, I highly recommend it. It's
I
great.
love it. I'm totally going to take that potential for future interviews.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, what are you currently listening to on Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, whatever?
I have country music on. I'm a big country music fan, and so that's how I find out what all the new songs are. So that's what I got.
Nice. Favorite TV show or Netflix show?
Jack Ryan,
Oh, on Amazon.
so good.
It's good. I haven't watched that yet.
Oh my god, it's in episode 2. I mean, season 2. It's fantastic. I
Oh,
rewatch it. It's so good.
I need to start that one, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it.
Yes,
Uh,
you should.
mountains or beach?
Mountains.
Mountains. Favorite Starbucks drink?
A venti non-fat latte with 1 stevia.
All right. Favorite salty snack?
Pretzels.
Pretzels. Favorite sweet snack?
Sour Patch Kids.
Oh, I love those. My son loves those. And what are you currently reading? Or if you're not, what's one of those books that you've got lined up on your Kindle?
Actually, I am reading Innovate Inside the Box by George Couros right now, and I absolutely love it. And then I am going to plug one more book just because it goes so well with this topic. Yeah. But it's by Jessica Johnson, Sarah Johnson, and Jessica Cobbeen, and it's called Balance Like a Pirate. And it is so good. Like, I cannot sell that book enough because it gave you a lot of ideas, but it also just was like, okay, good. Yeah, other people are still trying to achieve that balance. So
yeah. No, I have that one. I have that one too, and I would agree. It's definitely got some. Again, it reaffirms everything that we've been saying in this episode. It's okay. It's not just okay. It's essential. It's essential.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, Todd, thank you, man. For anyone who is wanting to connect with you on Twitter or online, how can they get in touch with you?
Let's see here. On Twitter, I am TS Schmidt. I'm also that on Voxer. I pretty much commandeered every single TS Schmidt I can get, which is also my Gmail account. So it's TSSCHMIDTY. And then I have that at Gmail. That's on Voxer. And that's on Twitter. That's how you get me.
Awesome. Well, Todd, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person next month at Spring Q.
Yes, of course.
That's going to be great. Looking forward to that and chatting with you in person. And everyone for listening, thank you for listening. Hopefully you got something out of this, but as I periodically or almost every time say, it doesn't matter if you're not listening because I got something out of it. Doing these episodes it's self-care for me, right? I'm getting something out of it just by talking with people like Todd. Todd, thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experiences with us. You're the man, my friend.
Thank you so much, buddy. Great talking to you as always.
Yep. And everyone else, if you haven't already done so, remember, be sure to subscribe. We're in Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, or you can listen to my website at brentcoley.com on the podcast page. And until next time, have a good one.